It started with a bark, not just any bark. This one was different.
Quiet.
Low,
Just
guttural,
sit
almost as
down.
if my dog Max was growling at something unseen. I was sitting alone in my dimly lit living room, scrolling mindlessly through my phone, when his growl pulled me back to reality. My heart skipped a beat as I looked over at him. His fur was bristling, his ears alert, and his eyes were locked onto the dark hallway leading to my bedroom. I
Quiet.
swallowed hard.
Just
"What is
listen
it, buddy?"
up
I
and
asked,
let
my
it
voice
out.
barely above a whisper. But Max didn't respond. He stood frozen, staring, his body tense like he was ready to pounce or flee. Have you ever felt like you weren't alone, even when no one else was there? That eerie sensation of unseen eyes watching you. That's exactly how I felt in that moment. I followed Max's gaze, staring
Quiet.
down that dark
Just
hallway,
listen
my mind
up and
racing.
let it out.
There was nothing there, or at least nothing I could see. Then Max let out a sharp bark and lunged forward. My pulse hammered as he bolted toward the hallway, his claws scraping against the hardwood floor. The air in the room felt heavier, like an invisible weight pressing down on my chest. I grabbed my phone and turned on the flashlight, sweeping it toward the hallway. The beam of light cut through the darkness, illuminating the empty space. But Max wasn't convinced. He paced back and forth, sniffing the air, growling under his breath. "Max, come here,"
Quiet.
I called, my
Just
voice
listen
shaking.
up
But he
and
didn't
let it
listen.
out.
Instead, he did something that made my blood run cold. He backed away, slowly, never turning his back on whatever he saw. It was as if he knew that whatever was there wasn't something he wanted to challenge. I hesitated before stepping into the hallway, my breath shallow. The temperature dropped noticeably, and a shiver ran down my spine. I could hear my own heartbeat pounding in my ears as I reached my bedroom door.
Quiet.
My
Just
fingers
listen
trembled as I flicked on the light.
let it out.
Nothing, just my empty room. I exhaled shakily and turned back toward Max, but my relief was short-lived. As I stepped back into the hallway, the light in my room flickered. Once, twice, and then went out completely. At that exact moment, Max let out the most terrified yelp I'd ever heard. It wasn't just fear. It was pain. I ran to him, dropping to my knees as he whimpered and backed away,
Just
his
listen
tail tucked between his
and
legs.
let it out.
My hands shook as I checked him over, but there were no visible injuries. Then I saw it. His eyes weren't on me anymore. They were focused on something just behind me. I didn't want to turn around. Every part of my brain screamed, "Don't look, don't look." But I had to. I took a deep breath and slowly turned my head. Nothing. But the air felt thick, suffocating, like I was standing in the presence of something wrong. The hallway felt darker than before, like the shadows had deepened, stretching unnaturally along the walls. I grabbed Max's collar and pulled him close. "Come on, buddy, we're sleeping in the living room tonight." I didn't sleep. Max didn't either. He lay beside me on the couch, his body tense, his ears twitching at every little sound. The night stretched on, filled with silence and the occasional creak of the house settling. At least, that's what I told myself it was. By morning, everything felt normal again. Sunlight poured through the windows, chasing away the darkness and whatever had been lurking in it. Max seemed calmer, but he stayed close to me, refusing to leave my side. I tried to brush it off, convincing myself it had just been my imagination. Maybe Max had heard a raccoon outside. Maybe the light flickered because of a faulty bulb. Maybe I was just exhausted and seeing things that weren't there. But the next night, it happened again. This time, I was in bed when I felt it, the oppressive weight of unseen eyes. Max was curled up at my feet, but his head shot up, ears perked. He let out a low growl, the kind that made my stomach churn with unease. Then the room grew cold, a deep, bone-chilling cold that had nothing to do with the weather outside. The air conditioner wasn't on, and yet I could see my own breath fog in the dim light. Max suddenly sprang to his feet, barking wildly. My heart pounded as I sat up, my eyes darting around the room. Then, a soft creak. Not from outside, not from the walls. From inside my closet. Every instinct in my body screamed at me to run, but I was frozen in place. Max was barking furiously now, his body stiff, his tail rigid. The closet door stood slightly ajar, a crack of blackness peeking through. And then, a whisper. I don't know what it said. I don't even know if I heard it with my ears or if it was just inside my head. But I felt it. A breath of sound, something wrong and hungry. I bolted. Grabbing Max, I ran out of the room, slamming the door behind me. I didn't stop running until I was outside, standing in the cold night air, my heart racing like a trapped animal. I didn't go back inside that night. I slept in my car with Max curled up beside me, still trembling. I could see the house from where I sat, the windows dark and empty, but it didn't feel empty. It felt like something was looking out at me. I don't know what it was. I never saw it. But Max did, and whatever he saw was something no dog, no living creature, should ever have to see. After that night, I couldn't stay in that house. I packed my things and left, moving in with a friend until I found somewhere else to live. I never spoke about what happened. What could I say? That my dog saw a ghost, a demon, something worse. Max never fully recovered. He was never the same playful dog he used to be. He was still loyal, still loving, but there was always an edge of fear in his eyes, a lingering tension in his body, as if he knew that somewhere out there, in the spaces we can't see, it was still watching. Have you ever had a moment where your pet acted like they saw something invisible? A shadow in the corner of the room, an empty space that seemed not so empty. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's just their imagination. But then again, maybe it's not. If you made it this far, don't forget to subscribe. Who knows? Maybe next time I'll tell you a story even more terrifying than this one.